And thank you so much to all of our panelists for being here to answer some questions. We're excited to talk a little bit with the organizations that are part of the Student Media Center here at the University of Mississippi. In a moment, we'll have them introduce themselves and give us a little bit of information about who they are as students, and then we'll ask some questions in a panel style format. So first and foremost, if you're on the call, just make sure to mute yourself unless you are actively speaking, just to kind of cut down on any additional noises or anything that might be in the background. And then make sure to unmute yourself once you start talking, or if you need to ask a question. We also want to make sure that everyone on the call is aware of the active closed captioning and transcription service that we'll be using for all of our virtual involvement fair sessions through otter.ai. So if you look towards the top of your Zoom screen, you'll see a live on otter.ai live notes feature. If you click that arrow, you can actually open a live stream of the transcript. And I've also posted a link in the chat that you can utilize if you'd like to pull it up. Just make sure you minimize your Zoom window so you can have both pulled up at the same time. So panelists, thank you all so much for being here. We are going to ask you a series of questions and just sort of give you an opportunity to answer all of those questions, but then too, we really want to hope that this is conversational and a great opportunity for you to kind of just talk about some really awesome things that you're doing and the variety of things that y'all do within the Student Media Center. So again, students or incoming students, if you have questions, please feel free to post them in the chat so everybody can see them, and we will make sure to get those answered. So let's kick things off with some introductions. First and foremost with our panelists, if you want to tell us what your name is, what organization you are with and the position you have with that organization, and then what your classification and major is.
Okay, I guess I'll go first. My name is Eliza Noe. I'm a senior journalism major, and I'm the editor-in-chief of the Daily Mississippian, which is the student newspaper.
I am Brian Barisa. I am a senior broadcast journalism major, and I am the manager of NewsWatch Ole Miss, Ole Miss's nightly newscast.
I'm Jesus Escobedo. I'm the station manager for Rebel Radio, Ole Miss's college radio station.
Hi guys, I'm Asia Harden. I'm a senior integrated marketing communications major, and I'm the editor-in-chief of the Ole Miss Yearbook.
Awesome, and thank you all again for being here. Really excited to have you all. So let's kick things off with our first question. Can you tell us a little bit about the purpose of your organization or the purpose of your media, and really what contribution it makes to campus and the community of Oxford?
I think for the DM, kind of our purpose is to create an objective view of the university, whether it's kind of how administration is working and what they're doing. I think that kind of gives a clear view of the community as a whole. Like, we also work with Oxford government, student government. So I think in a way we're kind of giving an objective view about how Oxford runs and the people who live here.
At NewsWatch, we are, short, sweet, and to the point. We go live every night. Here's what's happening in town. Here's what's happening in the country, and we try to give our viewers every night just a good look at the stories that happened that day and some things that are going to be coming up soon.
At Rebel Radio, we have DJs and news reporters. The DJs go on air. They play their music through their playlist on Spotify or Apple Music, and that broadcast through radio stations around the LOU community. And at news reporters, they go and report news that are happening around the LOU community and at Ole Miss.
And for Yearbook, we're really just trying to capture the academic year for students, whether that's through writing stories, taking photographs, different design elements, and really putting that all together so that students have something to take home at the end of the year to really remember what this year was, and just kind of have that token to remember college.
Awesome. And I do have to say, all four of your organizations are absolutely amazing. I've been very impressed with our media center here at the University of Mississippi. So next question is just talking a little bit, and this one might have a few answers, and that's okay. Feel free to expand however you would like to. But what's your favorite thing that you get to do as part of the entity that you're part of throughout the year?
Personally with the DM, designing the print paper has always been super fun for me, especially if it's an especially busy week or kind of a hot topic. Getting to like walk around campus and see like people I don't know reading my stuff, to me that is bizarre, but also like my favorite part. And also like how the community engages with us online. So watching our Twitter kind of blow up, and like we just redid our website, so watching like the analytics for our website do much better than it has in the past. I guess growth in general has been my favorite part of the DM.
I think at NewsWatch, I don't really have a favorite event, kind of given that I guess everything that we all do is so, we kind of get into a routine. I think my favorite things are when there's things that aren't quite normal, when we have protests, when we have big things happening on campus. My favorite thing that we do every year kind of just depends on what's going on that year. And I feel like, with protest, with the COVID-19 outbreak, and with, it being an election year, I feel like this year is actually going to shape up and to be one of my favorites for just all around having to go out, find a story, and create kind of special content. I feel like we really have a good semester for that, and that's kind of my favorite part of NewsWatch.
My favorite part of Rebel Radio is just going to the radio station and playing my music through the speaker so that my friends and other listeners that are listening to the car or on the app listen to us and anybody in the radio station. And also my favorite part that I've done with Rebel Radio is our giveaways that allows us to connect with our listeners and fans. So we have like a one-on-one communication.
For yearbook, my favorite moment in the year is just when we get the print books for the first time and everyone gets to see their work kind of in the physical format. And it's just really exciting because even if you see it online, you don't really know how it's going to turn out. And then you get to turn around and distribute those books to the student body. And it's really fun to see your friends get a yearbook in their hand. And you're like, that's my name, that's my name, that's my story, that's my photo. So that's just really cool, all the excitement surrounding that.
Awesome. So one of the things, about involvement fairs and sort of this involvement experience is trying to help students understand how they can get involved in different things on campus. So how could a student join what y'all do, or just really sort of take advantage of the services that you provide?
To get involved at the DM, basically send me an email, DM editor, and we'll get you kind of connected to whatever you're interested in. So if you're interested in sports, news, arts and culture, or opinion, I can get you connected with your editor. And basically, if you keep bothering us, we'll keep giving you stuff to do. So that's basically what I did. And so I just kept bothering who was in charge of me, and they kept having me around, and I got to do bigger and better stories. So that's basically with us. You just kind of have to stick around and be super involved and keep talking to us, and we'll find you something to do. And it's always super fun.
For us at NewsWatch, on the second week of school, we'll actually be doing auditions. And if you kind of hop onto our socials, NewsWatch Ole Miss or NewsWatch_UM on Twitter, you'll be able to kind of find once we're starting to make announcements and starting to create content to prepare for that. On the second week, we're going to try and get through auditions, and it's pretty much the best way to try and get involved with NewsWatch. We look for anchors, we look for weather correspondents, we look for people who are going to go out and make content for us to use. We actually have our own sports department as well, so if you're into sports and you want to be on TV, we do have that.
To get involved with Rebel Radio, we hold auditions the first the second week of the beginning of each semester. And what we're looking for is the best students that are served as DJs that have a drive to connect with music and also with our listeners and provide the best communications. And also news reporters the same week as DJs auditions will be held.
The best way to get plugged in with the yearbook would really be to follow our social media at the Ole Miss. We'll have different posts going up in August about how you can get involved with writing, design, photography, things like that. Or like Eliza said, you can also shoot us an email at theolemisseditor@gmail.com. That's a great way for us to know your name, know you're interested, and get you connected with the right editor.
Awesome. So another thing that is really important about getting involved on a college campus, and what we sort of talk about as a reason you should get involved, is that you learn a lot of transferable skills and you gain relationships with people, but then also it helps you really enjoy your college environment a little bit more. So can y'all tell us a little bit about what you've learned being part of your student organization, or some of the things that maybe have made you a better student being part of your student group?
Yeah, so at the DM, I can honestly say that I learned more at the Student Media Center than I kind of did in my classes, because you get more of a real world type experience. You're on a constant deadline. You're learning the production of a newspaper and news in general. So how it goes from writer to editor and editor to the page or to the website. So that's been like a super big help for me, especially like in interviews for like internships and stuff. They ask if I have experience in a newsroom. Yes, I do, because I spent so much time in the Student Media Center. So experience especially has been super helpful for me, and hopefully it'll, keep staying helpful as I look for jobs after graduation.
At NewsWatch Ole Miss, one of the things that we really try to reinforce is that we're a learning lab. We're not playing news, we're doing news, but at the same time, we are somewhere where, you as someone who is learning how to be a journalist can make a mistake, and it's not really a huge deal. Like, mistakes are going to happen. It's live TV. This semester, we're actually doing a kind of pre-recorded style to everything because of the outbreak, but we're allowed to make mistakes, and that's the whole point. You're here to learn. You're here to actually take skills, work in the newsroom, learn how to work with people, but also work with yourself and work and be able to be timely and create content in a certain kind of span. But you can learn how to make a mistake, how to correct for a mistake, and how to plan ahead for the future. It's kind of the perk of being able to do this in college. You're doing it in a real studio, but you're allowed to hiccup every now and then, because that's the point of learning. That's why you're in college.
For Rebel Radio, most of our DJs in the past have said that they have learned time management skills. Rebel Radio has been a crucial part for them, to where they learn music for their future careers, whether it's news reporting or music related. Some of them have also said that they've learned organizational skills. What I've learned is time management skills, and also it's given me a path and skills for my career that I have and will need for the future, so that recruiters and employers in the future will see me as a good employee for them.
As far as the yearbook, I think it is a really great way, kind of like everyone is saying, to kind of practice your skills. And then especially you get to work on your passions. A lot of people are passionate about the types of things that we're doing, being able to have that creative outlet. But just for me personally, I was a writer since freshman year at the yearbook, and I can tell just with every yearbook, my writing has improved so much. And that's just in the opportunity to be able to have stories, to write, to be able to have something to talk about. And I think that is something really great that the Student Media Center does. It allows students to have real work experience, to be very hands-on. And that is going to transfer into your job later on when you're asked to write something or take a photograph about something or work with other coworkers. You'll really know kind of how to do that already because of what the Student Media Center is bringing to the table for you.
Awesome. So I guess my final question before we sort of turn it over to the students that are on the call as well, where do you hope to see your organization go this year, and how can new folks joining sort of help it get there?
Hopefully with the DM, we can kind of keep working on the momentum that we built last year, especially after Chancellor stuff, statue stuff this summer. Hopefully we can gain more of a following, especially with younger writers. I don't know, everything is so different. It's kind of hard to say like where I want it to go, but I would love to keep building our online presence because that's where our audience is, especially with college students, because our Twitter's grown by about 5,000 followers this past school year. And with our new website, it just keeps getting better. And so I hope I can kind of share that experience with new people, because it's the new people that are going to keep the momentum going. So that's pretty much it for us.
Kind of similar to what she said, this is a pretty weird year. We're having to change from a nightly newscast to a once a week, but because we're going out once a week, we now have to focus, like she said, online. Everything's got to be pushed online hard. Once we get content, we have to get it out fast. So that's kind of, right now, our growth is online. And the kind of the most important thing we are trying to do as a program is be able to tell timely stories in a timely fashion and get them sent out online in as many ways as possible, be it through our own kind of TV style packages, or short 30-second voiceovers, or pairing that with print elements to themselves and helping that branch out more across that student media center as a whole is kind of our goal. I think we're all trying to focus more on taking all that energy that our groups had at the end of last semester and branching them together. There's actually a group in the SMC now that's going to be focused on getting content between all of our organizations, and that us all being online is going to really help that out. So probably the most main thing I see us doing in the next few years is being more multimedia instead of just broadcast.
For Rebel Radio, the past 2 years, we've been on a high level, winning awards and getting such recognition. And my goal for this upcoming year is to push it to where we hire the best DJs to provide the best music experience, the best listening to our listeners, and for our news reporters to provide the best quality news and push their news on our social media and website, because that'll probably be the only way we can connect if things are still the same in the future.
For Yearbook, I just, excuse me. For Yearbook, I just continue to see us creating books that really encompass what the school year was for students, being a publication that is for students, by students, continuing to keep that in mind and continuing to allow our writers, photographers, designers to really be creative and just continue to have that experience and uphold the legacy that is the Ole Miss Yearbook and continuing to produce great content.
Awesome. So now we want to open it up for our students that are here participating. It looks like we have a question. So what kind of impact on these programs can students who aren't journalism or broadcasting, et cetera, majors have?
Yeah, so at the DM, we actually have like a really wide range of majors. We have computer science, public policy, art, just general different things. We're hoping to expand more our online team. So if you are like a computer science major, STEM, anything like that, we've got room for you. And we always have freelance artists, cartoonists. Yeah, I think even someone on our editorial staff is pre-med. Like, we will find a place for you if you want to work for us, and we'll just grow whatever skills you've got already.
Same goes for NewsWatch. While a lot of us are kind of journalism and broadcast majors, we have room for everybody. So I think one of our better anchors that we've actually had was actually an accounting major. It really doesn't matter kind of what your major is, but it really just depends on your willingness to work and to learn. I mean, your major doesn't matter. A lot of times we get really good stories that a lot of us wouldn't have known about if, kind of as a journalism student, we hear about things from other departments, and sometimes that gives us some really good pieces.
The same thing goes for Rebel Radio. Any majors able to be a DJ and news reporter. I'm a marketing major. I'm not from the journalism school, and as the station manager. We've had DJs from engineering, pre-med, biology, any major that's offered at Ole Miss is welcome at Rebel Radio.
I think the same goes for Yearbook as everyone else stated. If you have a passion for something, if you want to come work for us and be a part of the Yearbook, then you're more than welcome. We welcome all students and we love your contribution.
Awesome. What other questions are there? All right. That's okay if there aren't any more questions. Y'all did a great job actually of talking through your groups and the ways that folks can get involved. So that was awesome. Again, we will post this on our website and send it to students who weren't able to be here today so they can learn a little bit more about the different entities within the Student Media Center because y'all do some great work. Thank you all for being here as panelists. We're really excited to have y'all. Let's see, what about the season? Will it be operating at all? Another question.
By the season, do you mean like football season, like sports in general? Is that what you mean? Because if so, like our sports section is still working. We're hoping to do like a podcast. Our assistant sports editor, James, keeps making sure that I remember that he wants to do a podcast this year. So I will make sure that he gets his podcast. Yeah, and we're just going to have to adjust the way we normally would. We're covering recruiting. Okay, so they're like the season. I actually don't know because I don't think they're with the Student Media Center. I think they're just with athletics in general.
So the season's with athletics, so
yeah.
I think that's up to a different department than us.
I'm sure it's easy to figure it out though.
And if the season isn't open, NewsWatch does need some sports reporters. So if you like working with cameras and want to go to football games, or if we have football games, we do actually get people onto the sidelines. And how do we sign up to audition? Audition signups will kind of be, I haven't made the sign up sheet for that yet. I'm kind of working out some of the logistics because normally we bring people into the Student Media Center. We actually get to see them face to face and in person. But because of the situation at hand, we can't necessarily do that. So I'm still working out some of the smaller logistics to that element. However, once it's ready, it will go out on our social media and there will be, links and bios, things like that. And that's going to be the kind of the ticket. Once you see that, that's when you need to go ahead, sign up for a time slot. I believe we're going to be doing most things through Zoom. You'll need we'll just need to see like a resume. If you have a reel, please send a reel because since we can't see you in person, being able to see aspects of your work that you've done is going to be extremely important in kind of how we're going to be doing the hiring and things like that. If you have any other questions though, I'll actually go ahead and type this out because I completely forgot about it. But our email is newswatch.olemiss@gmail.com. If I spelled that right. And if you have anything that you would like to send us just kind of in advance, please feel free to send it there. And I'll be able to at least take a look at it. I'll be able to share it with my staff and we can all take a look at some things kind of before we get started with all that. But right now, the main thing is to just kind of wait for those auditions to go out. It should be like the second week of school is when I start sending that out. So be on the lookout for that.
one question that they asked was, when can students join? Is it any time of the year? For Rebel Radio, the only time you're able to join Rebel Radio as a news reporter or a DJ is usually the first 2 weeks of school for spring and fall semester. That'll be the only times you're able to join. And I also wanted to add that DJs have a variety of shows. We have sports shows, talk shows, podcasts, and the music taste for any show is beyond any taste. EDM, alternative, pop, country, rap, hip hop, any taste of music is welcome. Rebel Radio, as long as you have a drive and a good communication and desire to provide the best.
For Yearbook, we would prefer students to join during the fall semester just because that's when a bulk of our work gets done so that the book can be printed in the spring. But if it's maybe like October and you decide, hey, I want to be a part of this, then again, you can shoot us an email and we can get you started on something.
For us, it's just going to be that, like, kind of at that second week, we're going to put out audition signups and all that. But that's the only way to get involved in the fall. In the spring, we will also do one in early January. Mostly because, well, we always do that every year, but I know this year with kind of the situation that we're working with, we're hiring a lot less at NewsWatch. And I hopefully in the spring we'll be back to some form of normalcy, so I can actually hire a full staff. So if you don't make it in the fall, the spring does have its own auditions, and everything is started over from scratch. If you were hired in the fall, you'll still have to kind of re-audition in the spring, and it's just like basically a fresh start, more or less.
Yeah, and with the DM, you can hop on whenever. We do realize that, like, with freshmen especially, it can get kind of hard to figure out when your free time's going to be. So that's why we kind of keep like a rolling admission of who can write and who can't. So yeah, just whenever you want, you can just literally send me an email whenever, and we can try to find a place for you.
And then in context to asking about sending a YouTube link for the season, please do. If you would like to get involved with NewsWatch Sports, I will actually annoy my sports director until he actually watches it, just so he especially sees it. I kind of let our sports department be a little more autonomous. He's kind of in charge of how hiring and everything works there. So I'll make sure I send it to him. I know this year we're actually doing a very specialized sports only show. So having people who kind of have a lot more experience shooting sports is going to be probably extremely, extremely helpful to him.
All right. So awesome. We got some more questions. That's great. Well, we are going to go ahead and wrap it up then if there aren't any more questions. Again, thank you so much to our 4 panelists. Y'all did awesome. Thank you for sharing all the amazing things that y'all are doing, because y'all are doing some great work, not only for campus, but for the community. And if y'all have any other questions, feel free. It looks like, do y'all use Premiere or Final Cut? Brian, I think that one's for you.
In the Student Media Center, all of our computers are equipped with Adobe. However, if you hate Premiere, like I do, and you want to use something like Edius, or you want to use Adobe Resolve or Adobe DaVinci Resolve or Final Cut, you can use that on your own computer. Kind of with everything being done online, a lot of stuff is being done from our own computers wherever we are, in an effort to help with social distancing and limit the amount of people that we have in the Student Media Center. So we let you use whatever you're comfortable with. If you have your own camera gear, you're more than welcome to use it. I use my own gear whenever I do things, but we also do have our own gear that you can use if you don't. So we're very welcoming to, we know that people learn a certain thing and they don't like to learn another thing. So if you have a thing that you like, you are more than welcome to come in and actually, or to use that, because we know that's what we're going to get the best quality content out of. So whatever you have that you want to use, you are more than welcome to use. But our computers in the Student Media Center do all have Adobe and only Adobe.
And I guess that actually brings up one final good question for everyone. You know, where can they find y'all? So I know we talked a lot about the Student Media Center, but for new students who may not know where that's located, where is the Student Media Center located?
So that's in Bishop Hall, which is as far away from Farley as you can probably get. It's like by the English building. It's across from the Turner Center and the Pavilion. There's a giant staircase that goes up to where we are. And the door literally says Student Media Center, so you can't miss us once you're inside.
It's right behind Bondurant Hall.
Yes, we're in basically is it the south side of campus? Yeah, we're in the as south as you can get before you hit the frat houses. And if you go up the stairs into Bishop Hall, go immediately to your right into the large glass doors that say Student Media Center. I believe it's 201 is the room number.
Awesome. Well, all right. Thank y'all again. A virtual round of applause to y'all. And I hope everyone has a great Wednesday afternoon. Thanks, y'all.
Thank you.
Bye.